Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6, an election special with Paul Clark and Sarah Clark.
It's results day and these are the stories making the headlines.
All eyes on Sinn Féin as they are on course to become the biggest party and take the First Minister's post.
DUP leader Jeffrey Donaldson wins his seat but insists he won't form a government until the protocol is resolved.
Alliance celebrates as it predicts a surge, but are they on course to become the third largest party here?
And it's a bad day at the office for the SDLP and the Ulster Unionists as they fight to retain seats.
We'll be going live to our reporters at the three count centres in Belfast, Jordanstown and Magherafelt to find out who the winners and the losers are. Well, the votes are in. The counting is well underway in what could turn out to be one of the most historic elections Northern Ireland has seen in many years. Well, let's take a look at the turnout. It's down 1%, with 63.52% of the electorate coming out to vote this time. That's down almost 1% compared to the last Assembly election when it was 64%.
And this is the current state of the parties. The DUP have 2 seats, Sinn Féin have taken 15 seats, the Ulster Unionist Party have 2, the SDLP have 1 and Alliance have 2. Others have 1.
So just what will the result mean for the future of government here? We'll be speaking to the DUP's Sir Jeffrey Donaldson and Sinn Féin's Michelle O'Neill. And our political editor Tracy McGee is with us in the studio bringing her expert analysis.
The hashtag UTV Vote 22 is the easiest way for you at home to keep up with all the latest election coverage.
Well, it's been a busy day in count centres across Northern Ireland, with results coming thick and fast throughout the afternoon. Sinn Féin is holding firm, the DUP is under pressure, and could Alliance double their seats?
The Ulster Unionists have defended fielding so many candidates and the SDLP admit the prospect of a nationalist First Minister saw their voters go to Sinn Féin. Jordan Motes has been following the drama as it unfolded.
Topping the poll and making history. This was a day of celebration for Michelle O'Neill. Sinn Féin is on track to become the largest party in the Assembly. The title of First Minister awaits, marking a seismic change at Stormont.
I've said the whole way through this election, this is about the future. It can be an historic election. Votes will have to be counted in order to establish that. But I also said the whole way through this campaign that I will turn up on day one, that I lead our team into Stormont, that I will work in partnership with others to try to deal with the issues that are important to people, the cost of living crisis, trying to put money into their pockets, fixing our health service. That's what today is about. That's what we're going to turn up to do on Monday morning, and I will work with others to do that.
Sir Jeffrey Donaldson was safe in Lagan Valley, elected at the first count. He may have been pleased with his personal performance, but the same can't be said overall for the DUP. The party's vote has been squeezed and losses are expected. With the DUP getting a significant bump in first preference votes, the Northern Ireland protocol is clearly on the minds of voters. Sir Jeffrey Donaldson is sticking to his guns.
Until the protocol issues are addressed, until the RIC border is removed, we will not be entering the executive. Our ministers will remain in place, in post, as they have done over the last few months, to ensure that key decisions in departments are being taken.
Outside of the big two, the story of this election really is the surge of Alliance. Kelly Armstrong was the first of all of the candidates to be elected. A small gain would make this their best ever election. However, they're expected to exceed expectations. 2 MLAs are even expected in areas where just a few years ago, one was regarded as peak.
Look, it looks very positive, but it's very, very early in the day. I mean, you know, transfers are everything in this election, and it will just depend how things fall. There are so many seats out there that are either ours or very close to, so we just need to wait and see what happens.
There was much talk of the Beattie bounce, but it's more a case of the Doug deflation. This will not be regarded as a good election for the Ulster Unionists. Roy Beggs has already lost his seat, while former leader Mike Nesbitt is hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Questions are being asked about vote management and the number of candidates on the ballot paper.
This election has got a long, long way to go yet, and we'll continue to fight this election until the last vote has been counted, the last transfer has been given, and then we'll see the lay of the land. But the Ulster Unionist Party do not give up. We keep going, we keep fighting, and at the end of the day, we will see what the end result is, and then we will decide where we go from there. But confident, positive unionism is the only way that we are going to protect Northern Ireland's place in the United Kingdom.
Changes to the political landscape have also impacted the SDLP. Stalwarts under pressure, Nicola Mallon fighting for her political career. Losses are predicted in a number of areas.
Sinn Féin have done enormously well with the nationalist vote. I think in the last days of this campaign, the issue of around the First Minister really came home to people. People just didn't like being told by Jeffrey Donaldson that a nationalist couldn't hold the First Minister's post. That galvanised people to go out and vote for Sinn Féin, and I think frankly we're being squeezed as a result.
It's also worth noting the Greens are under siege with a political wipeout on the cards. There's a lot of counting still to be done, but already we know the next Assembly is looking very different to the last one. Jordan Motes, UTV Live.
Well, now we can hear the very latest from our reporters live at the count centres across the country. And first up, we head to Ulster University in Jordanstown, where Lagan Valley is being counted along with North Down. Our reporter Paul Riley is there for us.
Yes, well, as you saw there in Jordan Mote's report, jubilant scenes as Jeffrey Donaldson topped the poll in Lagan Valley. He was first across the line. He was followed about an hour or so ago by Robbie Butler from the Ulster Unionist Party. A good day for him, perhaps not a great day for the party. We are expecting those surplus votes from Sir Jeffrey Donaldson to get the former First Minister Paul Givan across the line, and then he'll very likely be followed by Saoirse Eastwood. The question is, where does that fifth seat in Lagan Valley go to? The Alliance Party think they're in contention, but don't forget about Pat Catney, who just slipped in 2017. Turning to North Down, well, two big stories coming out of North Down. The former DUP MLA, Alex Easton, romping home well over quota. He says he's been elected an independent, he will stay an independent. It looks like his surplus votes could get the DUP's Stephen Dunn across the line. Alliance Party been saying all day they're very optimistic of getting 2 seats in North Down. That would be a big day for them. The Ulster Unionist Party still feel they're in contention with Alan Chambers, so the casualty could be the Green Party's Rachel Woods.
Paul Riley, thank you very much.
And Gareth Wilkinson is covering the constituencies of Mid Ulster, Newry and Armagh and Upper Bann. Gareth, what's the latest there?
Well, Sarah, the day of celebration for Sinn Féin really began here in Macrofelt. That's because Michelle O'Neill easily topped the poll and smashed right through the quota in her own constituency of Mid Ulster, bringing her running mates Linda Dillon and Emma Sheeran over the line in the last half an hour. The DUP's Keith Buchanan looks odds on to hold on to his seat there, and the SDLP's Patsy McGlowan most likely will be returned to Stormont again in Upper Bann, but it's all to play for. And of course, it's the constituency where Doug Beattie is contesting his first election as UUP leader. And I have to say, we've just had a count here in the last few minutes, and Doug Beattie might be somewhat on shaky ground. That's because Owen Tennyson of Alliance, he's just 23 years of age, and he has polled more than Doug Beattie. Sinn Féin's John O'Dowd and also DUP's Jonathan Buckley look like they'll keep their seats. It's Dolores Kelly who looks like she is the most vulnerable in the Upper Bann constituency. Certainly one to watch as the counts progress further on into the night. In Newry and Armagh, well, Sinn Féin will hold on to their 3 seats. Conor Murphy and Cathal Boylan both elected over the quota. There's a bit of a fight within unionism there. William Irwin of the DUP has polled stronger than the TUV. That fight's not over, and it looks like that Justin McNulty of the SDLP will depend on transfers if he's to get over the line.
Thank you.
Well, we're now going to cross back to Belfast, where we can join the Sinn Féin President, Mary Lou McDonald. Actually, we're just waiting for Mary Lou McDonald to talk to us. She's not ready just yet. Tracy, can I just draw you on this? It's been a great day for the party. I wonder what Mary Lou McDonald is going to be saying.
Well, I think she'll say that they ran a very positive campaign and the electorate has come up to the challenge. It has been an excellent campaign for them. They are not in fights for seats. They are sailing across the line. This election seems to be about 2 stories. who's going to become First Minister, it looks nailed on at this moment in time that it's going to be Sinn Féin, barring a real upset at this point, and the rise of the middle ground, the Alliance Party making their surge.
The Sinn Féin do know how to manage their vote, and they've managed it extremely well. It looks like they're going to hold seats where the SDLP would have liked to have thought they could have won.
Yes, Fermanagh South Tyrone would be one that would come to mind. I think the difficulty for the SDLP is that they are now not only not making any gains, they are fighting to hold on to some big names. The fact that Nicola Mallon is in a fight for her seat, a minister. We were thinking that it would be the second Sinn Féin candidate, Carol McCullen, that would be in difficulty. In fact, both she and Jerry Kelly got over the line in the first vote.
And then there is that middle ground occupied by Alliance.
Yes, that's right. Very clearly, they are doing very well indeed. It could be that they could get anywhere between 14 and 18 seats, an absolutely stunning result for them. And in East Belfast, they have actually overtaken the DUP in first preference votes. OK, we must now go to Mary Lou MacDonald, the president of Sinn Féin, who's waiting to talk to us now live in the Count Centre in Belfast. Thank you very much for joining us. Time is short. Can I ask you briefly, how significant is this vote for Sinn Féin?
Well, I think it's very significant. It's been a very remarkable campaign. It's been, from our perspective, a very positive campaign. Of course, it's been about issues in the here and now, as you know, Paul. I mean, a lot of talk about the cost of living crisis, the imperative and urgency of getting money into people's pockets, the imperative to form an executive, to work in partnership to fix our health services.
I'd like to draw you on that. I'd like to draw you on that, if I may. The necessity to get an executive up and running. What if the DUP don't go into that executive?
Well, look, we're here after an election. The votes are being counted. The people are having their say, and it's absolutely essential that everybody respects that, other than an appetite for delivery at a time, as I say, when people are increasingly under hardship. So really, for me and for us, this is a no-brainer. There isn't an alternative other than power sharing. There is no alternative, Paul, other than working together. And the DUP, I think, would be very, very wise to heed that message, to roll up their sleeves along with the rest of us, and to get back, and not least to make sure that we have a 3-year budget, and that £330 million that's there unspent, that we actually get that quickly into people's pockets.
One final question for you. Why has nationalism, the nationalist electorate, gone for Sinn Féin this time?
Well, I think, as I say, our message was very clear, was very positive. There is an unmistakable appetite for progress right across society. And certainly people that I was talking to were very animated and excited by the prospect of a First Minister for all, a progressive person leading the executive, and demonstrating the capacity to work in partnership to deliver in the here and now, but crucially to build our future together.
Thank you very much indeed, Mary Lou MacDonald, for talking to us live this evening on the programme. Thank you.
We can now cross live straight away to Jordanstown, where we can join the DUP leader, Jeffrey Donaldson. First, congratulations on topping the poll in Lagan Valley, Sir Jeffrey Donaldson. Sinn Féin's figures are very strong. Did your tactics backfire and stimulate the nationalist community?
Well, obviously we're still waiting for some of the results to come in, but it does look like Sinn Féin have polled well. Our vote has held up well. For example, here in Lagan Valley, we've polled some 18,000 first preference votes and will hold our 2 seats comfortably. We're obviously waiting on some results. It could well run late this evening and even into tomorrow before we get the final outcome.
The protocol, Sir Jeffrey Donaldson, which is preventing you entering an executive, but it looks to the outside world and to the nationalist community, you just won't share power with them. Is that the case?
Well, Stormont operates on the basis of a cross-community consent, and unionists do not support the protocol. The protocol is harming our political institutions. It's undermining the economy. It is harming our economy. It's driving up the cost of living. So we need to deal with the protocol. And my message to the government is the sooner you take decisive action on the protocol, then we can get a stable executive, properly functioning. That's where I want to get to. and the matter is now in the hands of the government. They need to act.
But come Monday, if issues around the protocol are miraculously resolved and Sinn Féin are the main party, will you enter an executive or not?
Well, we will accept the outcome of the election, but I am clear that isn't the only question we must address. I made clear during the election campaign that we need the government to act decisively on the protocol. I'm waiting for them to do that. The matter is now in their hands. We have a clear mandate. We want to see the protocol issues addressed. We want to see the Irish Sea border removed so that we can trade freely within our own country. We will no longer be treated as second-class citizens.
Very quickly, the people of Northern Ireland want delivery. They want issues around the cost of living to be dealt with, and without an executive, that can't happen.
Well, I want to see delivery as well. That means taking action to deal with the protocol because it's driving up the cost of living. It's costing a lot more to bring food and other products from Great Britain to Northern Ireland. Every consumer in Northern Ireland is being hit by these increased prices as a result of the protocol and, of course, other factors as well. We want to address that.
Thank you. We'll leave it there.
Thank you.
The 4 Belfast constituencies are being counted at the Titanic Centre. Our political correspondent Vicky Hawthorne is there. Vicky, what's the latest?
Well, Paul, the 4 constituencies in Belfast are all being counted here. Of course, I guess one of the most significant stories for Sinn Féin in this election is North Belfast. Despite predictions that they might struggle to hold a second seat in that constituency, both Jerry Kelly and Carol Naculan have been elected on the very first count in that constituency. They're obviously delighted. The DUP believe they've done enough to hold 2 seats there with 2 new faces for the Assembly, one being Philip Brett, but potentially a 5th seat battle there, certainly for the SDLP and the Alliance. Nuala McAllister for the Alliance, she came very close last time round, and it looks like she's giving Nicola Mallon a real run for her money from the SDLP. In West Belfast, another success for Sinn Féin. They've got 1 candidate over the line, Danny Baker. The question here is whether they will be able to keep 4 seats that they secured last time round. That is a very unusual situation. And Jerry Carroll as well from People Before Profit wanting to try to secure the 5th seat there. In East Belfast, we have the Alliance leader Naomi Long over the line in the first stage of counting, and the DUP's Joanne Bunting. It's likely to be there, though, a kind of status quo with not much change, with likely 2 Alliance seats, 2 DUP and 1 Ulster Unionist. In South Belfast, though, there could be something interesting brewing there. Sinn Féin have Deirdre Hargey already. She secured her seat. Edwin Poots, of course, this is a parachuted in constituency for him. He's expecting to retain a seat there. But there could be a battle again at the bottom, at the last stages of this, between Alliance and the Greens, and that would maybe become at the expense of the Green Party in South Belfast.
Vicky Hawthorne, thank you very much.
Now we can cross to find out what's happening at the East, South and North Antrim counts, and we're joined by Eden Wilson. Eden.
Yes, kicking off with North Antrim, and 2 candidates are across the line. The UP's Robin Swan and Sinn Féin's Philip McGuigan. Robin Swan first to get elected there, a moment he really revelled in and said this is a big win not just for him but for the party. Across the way in East Antrim, not so much a cheery picture there. Long-standing MLA Roy Beggs, of course, in that chair for 24 years, has lost his seat. He was eliminated in the second count, and I'm just hearing a few moments ago John Stewart, his running mate, has just been elected, the first MLA elected in East Antrim. So a real bittersweet moment there for the Ulster Unionists. And looking at South Antrim too, Declan Kearney has topped the poll following his success in 2017.
Thanks, Eden. And we'll be live once again with the latest from the count centres and more analysis after this short break. Do join us then. Welcome back to the UTV Live election special. If you've just joined us, let us bring you up to date with the state of the parties.
And at 21 minutes past 6 on this Friday evening, the DUP have 2 seats. Sinn Féin have 15. The Ulster Unionists 2, the SDLP 1 and Alliance 2. And one other, that's Alex Easton, who's the independent unionist in North Down.
And we can cross back to Macrofelt now and take a look at the counts for Foyle in East Londonderry with our correspondent Mark McFadden. Mark.
Well, let me tell you first of all what I can say with certainty. That's that Sinn Féin have polled very well in Foyle. They've already topped the poll and got one of their candidates, Patrick Delargy, standing for the first time across the line. He's gone past the quota. The SDLP's Mark H. Durgan, he has also exceeded the quota and been elected. Now, the remaining 3 seats, well, we've got a fight within a fight. 2 SDLP candidates, Sinead McLaughlin and Brian Tierney, fighting for one of those seats. And we have, within unionism, a fascinating battle between Ryan McCready for the Ulster Unionists and Gary Middleton for the DUP, fighting it out for that last seat. It's on a razor edge. East Londonderry is proceeding very, very slowly. It's looking like we will have 2 DUP, 1 Sinn Féin, and a real bun fight for the remaining 2 seats. Claire Sugden, the Independent, Alliance, or Cara Hunter of the SDLP. When the music stops, someone's going to be left standing without a chair.
Mark McFadden, thank you. Now, Deborah McAleese joins us with details of the counts in South Down and Strangford. Deborah, what's the latest there?
Well, Paul, look, Sinn Féin knew in South Down that they were going to do really well, but even they are surprised at just how well they have done. They have now returned Sinead Ennis and Cathy Mason. We're also expecting Alliance Party to do really well with Patrick Brown, and it looks like Patrick Brown is going to take an SDLP seat there. And the Unionist seat is very likely going to go to Diane Forsyth in South Down. And in Strangford, we still only have Kelly Armstrong has been nominated. The TUV, Stephen Cooper, is doing extremely well. It looks like Peter Weir could be losing his seat, so there's only 2 DUP seats there. And the final seat is very likely to be a battle between Nick Matheson, that's Kelly Armstrong's running mate, and Mike Nesbitt of the Ulster Unionist Party.
Deborah, thank you. Counting is also well underway for Fermanagh and South and West Tyrone, and Sarah O'Kane can bring us up to date with the latest. Sarah.
Yes, well, we literally have just had a candidate elected in Fermanagh, South Tyrone, and that is Sinn Féin's Gemma Dolan. No great surprise, she topped the poll there. Interestingly, you know, when you look at the figures, Tom Elliott, of course, former Ulster Unionist leader and MP, well, he has gone ahead of his running partner, Rosemary Barton, but he's also skipped ahead in votes with the DUP's Deborah Erskine. And of course, she is former First Minister Arlene Foster's replacement. Now, we are going into the second count for that, so of course, there will be many candidates relying on transfers there. We're also being told that we should watch out for the SDLP, but it could essentially be still Sinn Féin to take those 3 seats. Looking at West Tyrone, again, we've only 1 candidate elected, another Sinn Féin candidate, and that is Nicola Brogan, another female to top the poll here. And essentially what we're being told is no real change. We were thinking Alliance might get in. That's not going to happen, and it looks like it's going to be similar to the 2017 lineup of 3 Sinn Féin, 1 DUP and of course 1 SDLP. But again, it all comes down to that final count.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah O'Kane there. Now, Tracy is with us. Tracy, what kind of a picture are we getting of the direction of travel here?
Well, it seems very unlikely that Sinn Féin are going to be knocked off course. Judging from what's happening at the moment, it does seem very likely that they are going to take the most number of seats, meaning that Michelle O'Neill will be eligible for the First Minister's role. The DUP look as if they're holding their own. They fought a defensive campaign. They are going to make some losses. It doesn't look as if it's going to be too much. Alliance, they're on a surge. They're doing well here. And also the TUV cannot be discounted. They have put their vote up across the board. Now, they may be on course for a gain in Strangford. We didn't see that coming. But what Jim Allister can take home tonight is the fact that his candidates have performed well really across the board.
I think the expectation is that there'll be a rush of results later on tonight. What will you be looking for then?
Well, I think it's always, and we've heard it through right through, all the reporters are saying it, is those last seats. It looks as if Sinn Féin are over the line comfortably, so then it's the dogfights for the smaller parties trying to get those last wins, and it's at that point we'll know just how big a surge alliance is happening, how much damage is being done to the Ulster Unionists and the SDLP.
We also have to look at the picture beyond Northern Ireland here, and I'm wondering, what must Dublin and indeed London be making of the results that are coming through here?
Well, there's no doubt about it, they're watching. And what is very clear is that Sinn Féin, who have shown absolutely no animosity towards the protocol, they are doing well. And the DUP, for all their anger over the protocol, they are losing seats. So I think people are being boxed in here now. The fact that Jeffrey Donaldson has said that he's not going into government unless the protocol is sorted out, well, that means that we continue in crisis.
So what kind of conversations do you believe are going to be happening behind the scenes over the weekend that will involve the unionist parties?
Well, Sir Jeffrey Donaldson has to decide first and foremost whether or not he is going to come back to Stormont, or will he stay in Westminster? Will his party be prepared to nominate for the Deputy First Minister's position? But before all of that, he'll want to know if he is in a position to go into Stormont with the protocol sorted in some way. Very difficult to see how that's going to be done anytime soon.
The other thing too, I suppose, to extrapolate from all of this is the fact that potentially you could see Sinn Féin in power, in government, in Northern Ireland and in the Republic.
Yes, and Mary Lou McDonald is very mindful of that because, of course, they have been topping the polls in the Republic as well. If they replicate any of what we have seen in Northern Ireland, yes, they could be in power on both sides of the border.
Tracy, for now, thank you very much indeed. Well, we'll be talking to Tracy later in the programme, but that's the way it is this Friday tea time. Our rolling election coverage continues with a special programme at 7 o'clock and again between 9 o'clock and 10.
Tomorrow we're back on air at 11:35, and of course there's comprehensive coverage of our results on our website.
But now, from the whole team, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in half an hour.
Bye-bye.